March 29th, 2017. Hard to believe it is already almost April. Wow, this year is just going by quick. Special thanks to our sponsors out to eat24.com. If you ate yet, well, log on to eat24.com. Download that app for your favorite mobile device. Click order and eat. It's like a food truck in your pants. Really, it's that easy. Also, hotsaucevault.com. Check out Louie at hotsaucevault.com. He's got hottest of the hot. Wimpy for the wimp. You name it. He's got it. Gag gifts. He's got it all. So, check him out. hotsaucevault.com. We're going to talk about a little bit about golf, but I want to talk, tonight we're going to be talking about speed cameras, texting laws, strange laws in just about every state you got. But in a 5-year-old gets suspended from school for something I think is ridiculous. But this week is the Shell Houston Open. Last chance for somebody that's not already qualified for the Masters to punch their ticket for the Masters. We got, they got a great field at the Houston Open. You got Ricky Fowler, Jordan Spieth, John Rahm, who finished second in the match play, Justin Rose, Adam Scott, former Masters champion. I mean, you look at Jordan Spieth, former Masters champion. So, I mean, you got Phil Mickelson, former Masters champion. So you got some powerhouse people in there, that could, go in just the top 20 there. Guys that they think who are picked to win at the Houston Open. They got Ricky Fowler going off. He's ranking number 1 for it. Then Jordan Spieth. And you can't rule out John Rahm. John Rahm's so hot. And Justin Rose is such a good all-around player. I mean, it's going to be a good week. And you got British Open champion Stuart Sink is in there. I always hated it when he won the British Open because he beat out Tom Watson, who Tom Watson I think should have won that just a fraction of an inch. He chips that ball, lands up there, rolls up the hole. Paul, welcome to the show. Tophelia, welcome to the show. So, we got the Masters. It's been 20 years. Hard to believe. 2017, Tiger won it in 1997. And then he went on this unbelievable tear, if you want to call it. His $8 million a year sponsor from Nike that he had. It was crazy. And they're even talking this week that they're not ruling out. They were talking to Brandel Chambly, who's a Golf Channel announcer. Said 1 week to go before the first major. And he said just days after agent Mark Steinberg, which is Tiger Woods' agent, said that Woods were not in a situation to even talk about the Masters now. Woods said last week that he's trying everything to get back to competition. He says, of course, Woods hasn't played competitive golf since withdrawing from the Dubai Desert Classic. What are you talking about? It says, you are Khazar, fake Jew. I'm not Jewish. By the way, I'm Catholic. So that would not even be fake. But it says, he says, I think it's an easy question, but do you either think that Tiger plays? Chambly says, I do. Chambly answers, if you believe anything that you read on social media, I know that his coach has been down there. They've been hitting a lot of balls in Palm Beach. The way I understand it, he's been practicing quite diligently. So it wouldn't surprise me if Tiger showed up at Augusta National. So I got a fan. Apparently he's telling me to go in hell, or whatever that. I guess he's trying to make friends on Facebook. At least he's listening. That's one thing I can say. So, for his part, Montgomery said that Woods does show up. He hopes fans don't see 14-time major champ bowing out after 77, 78 and going home from there. Oh, I'd love to see him just tear it up, play great. So, it'll be interesting to see your Kazar leave you, man, whatever. I don't know what he thinks. I think he thinks he's funny. So here, I'll give him a message back. Oops, wrong keyboard. I got 3 keyboards. There we go. That's good. So, also in golf news, true Kazar equals criminal. Whatever, I have no idea what this guy's talking about. But I know what we can do. He is finding somebody to have fun with, apparently. Well, a judge fined a Pennsylvania golf course, apparently $1,000 for errant golf shots. It says the judge fined Pennsylvania golf course $1,000 in its ongoing dispute with a couple who says errant golf balls are still hitting their property despite previous court order. It's at the Allentown Morning Call. Reports Northampton County Judge Morgan Hill Golf Course on Monday because it reopened the course during warmer weather this month without installing cameras that are to track all golf swings and trajectory of golf balls coming from the 13th hole. You know, I don't know how you could actually track which way they go from the camera. Golf course lawyer Irv McLean says the court denies wrongdoing and expects to prove to a jury it's not responsible for the balls being hit onto the people's property. You know, the one thing about it is when you have somebody that, you know, the average person slices the ball. So if they think that they are going to be able to control how somebody, you know, I got people that play golf at the golf course and they have no idea which direction the golf ball's going. They get to stand up there on the tee and they, you know, will hit it. I've seen them hit trees and ricochet it back behind themselves. And one guy, I always give him a hard time. He plays on Sunday mornings, or actually Saturday mornings. He plays on pretty much every Saturday. And he hit one of the tee markers for the tee spot ahead of him, and it ricocheted so hard it went almost probably 60, 70 yards behind him. So it's a good thing it didn't come back and hit somebody. Thanks, Joe. I always need him. But the ball went ricocheting back behind him, and it was like boom, boom, slap, slap. And, I mean, it was just so loud. So we always give him a hard time about that. But, you know, you can't fault the golf course because the golf course doesn't hit the golf ball. That's the thing. You know, you can't judge somebody's playing ability. I think you need to do is that it would be more more apt to do is have problems with, you know, if a player purposely hit it at a, you know, the house. And I have somebody that wants to do is you didn't realize I'm on multiple platforms. He's talking about on Facebook about how he Facebook Live, and he wants to run his mouth. But I'm on Ustream TV, Spreaker.com, TuneIn Radio, and Facebook Live. So, he wants to do his be your Richard Cranium, if you want to call it. So, he's one of those that I like to do the stupid criminal story because he's just an idiot. So, wants to do is run his mouth. I guess he has nothing better to do on a Wednesday night. So, here, I'm sorry, but I have to do is, he thinks that I'm going to leave his comments up there because he wants to be rude. But we have wild stories in the news. We got a 5-year-old that was suspended from school. And this is what I think is ridiculous. You think of, how it doesn't make any sense that in our schools that we would take and a 5-year-old gets suspended when they were out playing games, making a shooting motion with a stick shaped like a gun. So a 5-year-old in Hoke County, North Carolina, was suspended for 1 day after she made a shooting motion with a stick shaped like a gun. So the girl, Caitlin Miller, was playing with kings and queens at recess on Friday, and her role in the game was to protect the Royals. She picked up a stick shaped like a gun to do this, and according to ABC 11, Hope County Schools said Caitlin posed a threat to other students when she made a shooting motion, thus violating policy 4331. Really? How do you figure this Caitlin threatened the other students? It says Caitlin's mother says her daughter was alienated by her friends, teacher, and a result of the suspension, and is hopeful the school will apologize to her. As of now, the school system is standing by the suspension. They issued a statement. Said, Hoke County Schools will not tolerate threats or harassment from any student. Any student engaging in behavior such will be removed from the classroom or school environment as long as necessary to provide safe and orderly environment for learning. What have they taught this 5-year-old? Nothing. They've taught this 5-year-old nothing. They're so immediately gone to the extreme over a stick. They could have went to this little 5-year-old girl and her parents, called them in and said, hey, we don't tolerate this behavior, and talk to them about it and let them understand it. But now they pulled this kid out of school, kicked her out of school for a day from a 5-year-old. 5-year-old has no concept of what they did wrong. It said, Hoke County School Superintendent Freddie Williamson knows about the suspension on March 23rd. This is an article off of Breitbart. News reported that the 4-year-old Hunter Jackson was suspended for 7 days from his preschool, a place to go for bringing an empty .22 casing to school. 7 days. He's 4. Hunter's mother said a stone-faced teacher handed her a letter announcing suspension and told that Hunter had brought a shotgun bullet to school. It just tells you that this, the teacher has no idea what they brought. That's what I like about the school that my kids go to. My son, and he brought a .22. It's not a real bullet. It's a blank for driving in nails. And he brought that to school, and I'm sure he thought it was a real bullet and everything. Well, the teacher taped it to a piece of paper with a note. Please have a discussion with him, that he should not bring this and everything. They didn't lock down the school. They didn't freak out and say, oh, my God, what did he do wrong? Oh, my God, we need to suspend him for a week. No, they didn't do that. the PC, people are freaking out so bad. Oh my God, he bit his Pop-Tart into the shape of a gun. Therefore, he might go around and kill everybody in the school. Really? You think if you just don't talk about it and you don't discuss something, that it's not going to happen? Well, let's say, we got a problem with, with guns in our society. So if we just don't talk about them and don't tell the kids about them, then we'll be living this utopic society where everybody, oh my God, since they've never learned about a gun, when they get to 18, they won't know what it means and they won't want to buy one. Really, I'm serious. I guarantee you there's a lot of parents out there that teach their kids about handgun safety. I teach my kid about handgun safety. I teach them about, I tell them if they ever find a gun, don't pick it up. I said, if you ever where somebody, and you go to somebody's house and they have a gun, get away from them. Always treat that gun as if it's loaded. You find one. But to sit there and find a stick that kind of in the shape of a gun, I mean, what you say, oh, well, we don't want to do is create an environment where the kids, well, what the hell's wrestling? How about football? I mean, to sit there and tell these kids at 4 and 5 years old that they need to be suspended. This kid, you know what this kid thinks? At 4 years old, when you suspend him, I get to sit and watch cartoons all day long. Kid doesn't understand they did anything wrong. A 5-year-old kid doesn't understand that. Hell, at 10, when a kid's sick, what does he do? He goes home and watches cartoons all day. I mean, when he's really sick. He loves it. He gets to sit there and watch. I mean, we didn't have cartoons like they do nowadays. When I was sick at home, get mumps or chicken pox or something like that. You weren't able to sit in front of the TV and watch cartoons all day. And these kids got cartoons all day long. They got video games. We had Pong. Yeah, tell me, how great would that be? Hey, Mom, you want to play Pong? No, you're sick. Great. So, yeah, I just really have a hard time understanding how a school system that's there to teach kids don't do a weapon safety class. They do a sex education class. My son's ready to go through that now. He told me that he gets to watch the video about, and I don't think my wife ever laughed so hard when I told her about the sex education class I went to when I was his age, 5th grade. I think it was 4th or 5th grade. And I was this naive child that knew nothing about what sex was. And I asked the comment of, well, how does it get in there? And everybody all the teachers kind of chuckled and everything. My wife died laughing tonight. She laughed so hard. And she says, was your mom there? And I go, that's why I remember it. So, I don't remember what they told me, but I do remember being laughed at. So, yes. I was that, 4th, 5th grade little kid that didn't know the birds and the bees, and still didn't know the birds and the bees after they told me. I was like, they do what? So, yeah, I just think that's a teaching moment. I think they need to teach gun safety in classes, in school. You need to not teach people that guns are the worst thing in the world. They need to teach people that, you may encounter a gun. They have DARE class, Drug Abuse Resistance Education, if you didn't know what DARE stood for. I think they teach it too early. I think they need to teach it more in high school, more towards there. A lot of kids won't, are already introduced to it. But, I mean, they need to also teach what happens when you get to the level of where you're beyond where it's too dangerous. They had it was a wall. When I was down in Texas, we had in the gang office they had what they called a wall of death, and it was all these little photos, small little photos. They were on the wall, and you'd bring people in there, and they'd go, "Oh, I know him. Oh, why is everybody's picture up here?" And I said, there was one reason why they were all on that wall. They were all dead. And they were all gang members that, were either shot and killed by other gang members or something happened to them. They had one that I remembered. The back of his head was blown off, and they had to roll his face flat on the ground just so they could take a picture of him straight down. So, yes, people need to understand that guns can be dangerous, yes. But they also need to understand to learn how to handle a gun, learn how to do what to do if they find one as a young kid, how to report it. But to sit there and tell a kid that he has a stick that's shaped like a gun, oh, you need to be suspended because you're, no, I'm sorry, that doesn't help. It doesn't teach this kid anything. It teaches turning him into a snowflake society. I mean, you can look on the internet. There's tons of situations where people were suspended for stupid things, where they taken it to the extreme. I talked to a lady today, and she was talking to me about we have too many guns in our society. I said, the problem is when I was a kid, we didn't have this. If you got into a problem with somebody, it was, fist done. Nowadays, it's not fist anymore. Nowadays, somebody's carrying a gun on them. Or a knife. Or they run you over with a car. Or they beat you with 6 or 8 people. I mean, the problem is our society has gone, too extreme. I really worry about my youngest son when he gets older. About, just the way society is going. About, when he turns 20, 25. So, yeah, we need to do is educate the kids of how to handle guns. I mean, they used to have it. They still have, my one nephew and my niece, they live up in Minnesota, and they have shooting teams. They had shooting teams in their high school. I mean, it was not uncommon to hear about that in a lot of schools. And I think, they taught these kids how to handle guns, how to be safe around them, rather than teaching them that, oh my God, it's can't touch that, can't touch that. And what do the kids want to do? They want to touch it then. You tell them they can't touch it and shouldn't touch it and it's dangerous, don't. What do they want to do? That's the first thing they want to do. They want to touch it. Because you just created that excitement. So what do? You tell these kids, you can't drink. What do they want to do? Oh my God, I can't wait till I'm 21, I get a drink. Or I'll go on spring break when I'm 17 or whatever, and I'll go down to, like Jamaica or Mexico or something like that and drink down there. Because the reason why is you created that excitement. What is it? Not to fault them, but you look at every major sporting event. You look at NFL, Major League Baseball, basketball, everything. What are they doing? They're sitting around, they're drinking beer. Everything's great because I'm drinking. They make it seem like everything's a party because you're drinking. Oh, it's fun. It's always fun. You got to be drinking to have fun. They don't realize that you're watching, with your kids, and they're correlating that ad. They see that ad, and that ad tells them, "Oh, it's a great time because you're drinking." Yeah, they don't tell that. That ad doesn't show when that guy's drunk driving home and runs into a family of 4 or something like that. You know, I will not, if I'm going to drink, I'm not driving. There's too many ways of getting home. You got a cab, you got Lyft, you got, Uber, you name it. You got to call a friend, designated driver. Hell, you'd be better off walking home. But it's, they got the, the speed cameras. We were talking about those. The Iowa House voted to keep the speed cameras. Well, I talked to a friend of mine who's a sergeant with the Davenport Police Department. We talked about it. I said they ought to put them up in all the school zones. You're wondering about, they're there for schools, for public safety. Put them in the school zones. I have no problem with the speed cameras. I have no problem with the red light cameras. The biggest problem I have is the company should not get half of the money. It should be a flat fee, because then they're not determining how many camera or how many violations they get. It should be a flat amount that they get. So, but you got the speed cameras. They put them in the school zones. You get people blowing through school zones at 40 miles an hour when it's a 25 mile an hour zone. The zone runs from 7 to 5 or something like that. Put them in there so they hit that. It's 7 to 5. And then you got that mobile van that drives around. That mobile van could be there anytime. Could be anywhere. Could be in other places. But, that's where you need the speed cameras. You need them in the school zones. You got the kids coming in and out of school. And people blowing through those school zones. My niece was vocal about a road rage incident on Facebook last week, where this guy was locking up the brakes in front of her because he was mad because she was in the left lane. Well, I hate to tell you, but only, keeping to the right only happens on the interstate. Doesn't happen in town, because you might be in the left lane because you're getting ready to turn left. So this idiot was mad because she was in the left lane. So, yeah, people road rage out there now. People, it's, people, I don't know if it's a medicated society or what it is, but people think that the road, they're the only ones should be able to do anything on the road. If you're driving too slow, it's because they should be able to drive whatever speed limit they want. So they have also right now they're checking on whether they're going to do his vote in to crack down on texting while driving. Every day I see somebody driving on the road. I would love to see them pass a law. We're texting while driving. But they want to stop. They have lawmakers go to the cell phones and go to the cell phone companies and sit there and say, hey, if this thing's over a certain mile per hour moving, because it's got a GPS in the function in this phone. I've talked about this before. They need to go to the phone companies, put it to where it will not send or receive text when it's going over a certain mile per hour. That would do is eliminate the texting while driving. George, welcome to the show. Dana, welcome to the show. But you need to do is do something in effect to save people. Pretty much save them from themselves. You put that function in there where it doesn't allow them to text. It's like my car. When I hook my cell phone up to my car, my truck that I have now actually has where it won't let me text. It won't show up on the screen. You actually have to do is stop the vehicle to be able to do the texting function. And I think that's a great thing to have. I think it's something that should be put in the phones. They could do it if they want to. Make it mandatory that all the phones are that way. So if they're moving, and it's going to be the newer phones, of course. There's no reason that you need to text that often. I see people every day. They're driving down the road and they're looking at their phone texting. I mean, every day. I guarantee you when that law passes and they say, boom, go ahead and start pulling people over, you're going to see people pulled over left and right for it. You're going to be sitting there, people, they're like this. They're driving down the road and they're doing this number, glancing down at their phone, reading text. Good. Soon to be a primary offense. I agree, 100%. It should be something that you stop people for. Unfortunate incidents happen. They had one girl that were texting on Division a few years back. I know the lady that was involved in the accident with her. She felt so bad about it. Girl was texting while driving, crossed over the center line, hit head on. Had one on, she graduated school early. It's on her first day to college. Texting while driving, didn't realize the road had curved around on River Drive right down here, crossed the center line, head on, died. That function should be mandatory by the phone company. Apple, Samsung, all these companies should be petitioned by every state should get involved in that. They have the function that I mean, if they're capable of telling that your car is moving or that phone is moving, I mean, you watch your GPS on your phone and it follows you, the little dot follows your map. If that phone, if they can text it or find out that thing's moving fast enough, that function should be disabled. It should not allow incoming text, and it should not allow you to make them. That would be one that would stop people from texting while driving. Immediately would squash it. I see people, they're sitting, one thing is they'll get on the phone. And you don't see this with women, but you see it with guys. They sit there and they'll be like this, and they're got their arm way up in the air, and they don't realize they're blocking their vision out the left side of their car because they got up there and hold the phone like they're... I have hands-free in my phone in my car. Way back, I used to have one of those little portable. You can buy them, I don't know, it's like $15-20 or whatever. Maybe a little more than that. I don't know. But it was back when I was assistant. You're looking 20 years ago. And my boss blew up my speaker because I told him a story, and he went and he started yelling over my phone, and pop, my speaker blew up. Yeah, what about passenger trains, planes, boats, emergencies? Don't know. What you tell me? Okay, if you're in a passenger plane, you're not texting anyway. Your phone's shut off. I understand emergencies like that, but emergency, you could be able to 911 and call at any time. I'm not talking about shutting down. You don't text emergency I don't text 911. I call 911, Robert. Great, good question there. It says nobody texts the PD, or they don't text the fire department. It's if you're gonna, you still be able to make phone calls. I'm not saying shut off your phone. I'm just saying don't allow it to text. Because when you take your eyes away from the thing to text too long, that's when the car becomes dangerous. They going into traffic. Every day you see people going down the road and they're crossing over into other lines. If you and all I'm talking about is the texting function. I'm not talking about you should be able to dial 911. You should be able to dial the phone call. You can actually tell your phone to call it. There's a special number that you can say. If you got Siri or if you got, they have a new, Samsung has a new voice-assisted app or that's going on the Android phones that's going to take place like Siri is. I shut mine off to where I don't want it to where I say it. I have it to where I push a button. No, they're not smart enough to tell if they're on the road or not, but yes, they're smart enough to tell if they are moving at a certain speed or not. Yeah, that's the thing is, if you dial 911, and that's what you're going to do. You're going to call 911 for any kind of emergency like that. You're not going to text it to the 911 operator. It just doesn't happen that way. I don't think we'll ever get to that point where they're texting it to the 911 operator. But I just think it's something that has to be brought in because the problem is, especially for the teen functions, put it to where, all right, then you want to make it this, add it in more. You hear Amber, welcome to the show, Amber. You hear it all the time in claims for people texting while driving or people where the other person was texting when they hit them. I can believe that it happens as an excuse, and it's probably a bad excuse. That's probably the last thing you want to do is hear that, the other party was texting while driving, because it probably does is turn them a complaint against them. Yeah. Yeah, Google Maps and Apple Maps, GPS of every road is known. Yeah, well, the Google, and I use, I don't know if it's Google Maps in my car that has the Chevy, I think it uses the Apple. Yeah, lane change accidents, they say, but it's texting. I see texting every day. I'll be standing there. Like when I stand out in the morning with my youngest son, waiting for the bus, I have him stand back from the corner. And the reason why, I see people every day driving by, and it's a 25-mile-an-hour zone, and they're doing 35, 40 miles an hour. They're driving that fast, and they're staring at their phone, texting as they go by. And I'm like, whoa, get back from the curb, buddy. Don't stay up there. Because I don't want them up around that area, because you never know. You get the people the way they drive. I mean, it's dangerous. One look off the road or eyes off the road, and something happened. You see that all these bus incidents where people blow by the bus, or they pass the bus on the right side when it's stopped. Yeah, it's. I'm just trying to bring up an idea that phone companies could do to try help make it to where it's the younger, to anybody 18 or 17 and under, because once you become 18, you're an adult. You need to be responsible for your actions. But at 17 and under, if you have a person that has a cell phone, we tell my kids I won't give them a cell phone until they're 13. So for my kids, they're like, well, why, I say, you're never anywhere where I'm not with you, or your mother's with you, or you're with somebody that has a phone at 11. So my idea is, hey, from 17 on down, make it to where they can't text while the phone's in motion. Because you get somebody that's a 16, 17, really right around that age, 18 till they graduate from school. That's the cool thing to do. Text while they're driving. They think, it'll never happen to me. it's not going to be me, the one that happens to. Yeah, machine learning. Yeah, George Orwell, 1984, right? That phone is going to do is learn and turn into a killing robot. No. So, no, it's, I can understand where, people, they don't want, I wish they had a channel that you could watch on TV. They did it in San Antonio. When I lived in San Antonio, you could actually see the cameras of the street cams and just bring up and it would flip through the cameras on the different intersections and everything. I'd love to see that because you could look in the morning. If you're traveling, you could be able to bring that up, look and see how the cameras are, how busy the streets are. We have multiple bridges here that we have one, they call it, it's a nightmare. They always talk about doing the zipper. They're always working on it, I swear. But we also have what we call the truck-eating bridge. They need a cam on that. It's almost, I don't know how many times, it's almost every month it seems like somebody runs into it. I mean, it's got more things than you can imagine to tell you, hey, whoa, you're too tall. And people smoke into that bridge all the time. I think that's called the "Hey, you're fired" bridge. Yeah, I'd love to see him being able to bring up live cams here. I mean, I'm not sure, which ones you can bring up here, but that would be cool. It's it's just an idea. Is it too much to try to write code to do that? I think somebody could do that, and I think if they brought about it the right way, it should be a parent's, what do they call that, like a teen function that you can install. They got these new, things that you plug into your car, that I don't know, it's, you see it for Progressive or different insurance companies. You plug it in, and it tells you, help you with the rate. You know what it's doing? It's monitoring how you drive. It's constantly going, hey, okay, let's give information back to the fourth insurance company. Oh, my God, look at him. He's hauling ass, or he's, gassing or braking hard, or, whatever. It's going to do is critique your driving and send that information to the insurance company. Correct. It's a trap. That's right. Because what they're doing is they get you to think, oh, yeah, here, do this, and we'll lower your rates because of it. No. They can watch how you drive now. Now they can actually charge you according to the way you drive. I would never install one of those. But I'll tell you what, before too long, it's going to be a requirement from the insurance companies because they're going to do is force you to do it. I won't doubt if before too long that your car has to have cameras on them. It's not a bad idea to put a dash cam in your car. One in the back. Put a dash cam. Protect yourself. You get people that do some crazy things. I guarantee you some people can tell. I mean, I know, being a former police officer as myself, I've seen some crazy things. Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, that's sad. Yeah, Robert. Yeah, that's sad. Yeah, that's right. She doesn't text and drive, that's for sure. The craziest thing I ever had happen, and I've seen fatality accidents. I've been first on the scene. I've been to, we call them DRTs, dead right there. I've been to drive-by shootings. I've been to, you name it. But probably the wildest thing, and this is nobody died in this, but the wildest thing I seen was a guy jump off a 2-story apartment complex, land flat, bounce, And 5 minutes later, I was wrestling with him because he was so high, never felt a thing. It was the craziest thing. I had to move out of the way so he didn't land on me. But yeah, it's if you think it's going to happen, it could happen. Or it might, things, I guarantee you, I got friends of mine listening right now, I guarantee you he could tell you stories that would just freak your mind out, the stuff that they do. Correct. I agree, Robert. Better education in high school. You know, what do? They always do that prom mock crash or whatever. You see that? And the kids all laugh at it because they think it's just really stupid, a dork. You know, it's kind of like let's really take them down there and show them some photos of real accidents. Bring out there and bring them down to the morgue or bring them down to an accident and show them, you know, what it looks like when somebody really gets killed. Don't show them that 1970s driving video of, death on the road. You know, they show that real dorky video, you know, where it's really bad camera. Thank you, Robert. Yeah, I did 13 years in law enforcement. It's, I'll tell you what, I really respect the guys that are doing it now. They get no respect at all. I mean, and I talk about that as, I take that back. It's not that they don't get any respect. It's the younger kids coming up now don't respect them. I will always respect them. I think they do a great service, and they need to hear it. I mean, people don't realize the stuff that you have to put up with as a police officer. But no, I mean, having to go tell a mom or dad that their 16-year-old kid was killed in a car accident because they were texting while driving, or because they were in a car that the driver was texting while driving. I mean, that's just unbelievable. I mean, luckily I never had to do that. I never had to go up there and tell somebody that. I don't know if I could handle it. That would be that's a tough one there. So, yeah, I think it's a bill waiting to go through. Yeah, I tell you, back when I was I've been to the emergency room where I would be waiting on, you know, prisoners and stuff like that, and it gets crazy in the emergency room. I tell you what, that's the one job I would not want. Have friends with one of the ER doctors. He comes out and he plays golf all the time. And, I mean, he's a golf fanatic. So, I mean, if he's not working, he's playing golf. So, but, yeah, it's a tough job to do. And they do those 24-hour shifts. I would not want to be that on his 23rd hour, you know. But, no, talking about other stories, they had a driver who called for help after running out of gas, is accused of stealing a deputy's squad car in South Dakota, leading authorities in pursuit before once again running out of gas. Troy James is charged with felony grand theft. Yeah, that's probably not a good one. He was eventually caught about 140 miles away from where he was. So I guess he couldn't find a gas station on the way. But yeah, they're probably going to throw the book at you there. There was another one where we always talk about, you got customs agents. Apparently a fruit shipment contained 57 fake bananas filled with cocaine. Authorities in Spain said they intercepted a shipment of bananas that included 57 fake fruits, 15.4 pounds of cocaine. That's crazy. I don't know what the street value is because it's probably a little different for U.S. to overseas. There's Where's it at here? Oh, here's a fun one. I had one time a guy where we pulled up, we get to a call, guy ran into a telephone pole. Well, he made it home. He was like 2 blocks from his house. So we went to his house. He was sitting there drinking when he's in the house. Once he gets to home, he was complaining his shoulder was sore, but he said he walked home to use the phone. And he was drinking while he was there, so you couldn't get him for DUI. And you know, I know he was. But he said he said a pig ran in front of him on the road and caused him to veer into a telephone pole. Well, pretty much got away with probably DUI, but here's a kind of a funny one. Moscow, Idaho. Northern Idaho woman told police she crashed into a deer because she was distracted by a Sasquatch in her rearview mirror. The 50-year-old woman was driving on South on Highway 95 on Wednesday when she struck a deer in Potlatch. Well, you know, I mean, I could just say, hey, you know, I just saw a deer. But you tell somebody, hey, I saw a Sasquatch in my back window, they're probably going to be doing the, you know, with the finger like this and checking, you know, this horizontal stagnant gaze test. See if your eyes and everything are going. See if you've been doing a little of the happy smoke or maybe a little bit too much of the cerveza, as you like to call it. But, yeah. I always see that with hunting Sasquatch, and I'm like, if they found anything, you think it'd be all over the news. So you had, was it? Let's see here. Oh, here's one I thought was, this is an awesome story. I love it. It says, while investigating a burglary in Riviera Beach, Florida, police officers saw Avery Davis. He's 26 years old. Davis matched the description of the suspect, and police noticed that he was carrying some packages. Davis also had his dog, a pit bull, with him. Police ordered Davis to put the packages down, and the The confrontation began. Davis wasn't going to go down easily. He started to run. The police stunned him with a stun gun, but managed to get away again. Then Davis took the dog off the leash, told him, "Kill him, boy." The dog was probably a little confused with all the activity and didn't exactly go after the police. The dog turned on Davis. The dog bit Davis in the buttocks and went for his head, too. Davis was found later hiding under an SUV. Good boy. He says, "You're going to have to kill us," he yelled, before getting up off the ground and running away. Davis was hit with the stun gun, causing him to fall to the ground. Then he got up, began to run. He's proceeded to get the dog off the leash, pointed at the officers, instructed, "Kill him, boy, kill him." Instead of attacking the officers, the dog bit Davis. I think that's awesome. Give that dog a badge, you know. I had when I was in the service, I had a friend of mine. His name was Dugan, and his dog name was Rip. And that dog, when he's training, I did once. I made the mistake of volunteering to be the training dummy for him, and every time he'd bite your arm, whatever, and if he felt the asbestos, he'd bite for a different spot, go for everywhere. Well, one day Dugan was driving. He comes into the MP station, and this is when I was in service. We're both MPs. He comes in, and he's missing the sleeve off his jacket. And I said, "What the heck happened to you?" He goes, "That stupid dog of mine attacked me while I was driving down the road." His dog was just nuts. He was just hilarious because they would give him from handler to handler to handler while being in the military. Well, that dog would just turn and attack him. Well, we had a sergeant major. He was in charge of he was the provost sergeant major. Well, he thought that he was, could go up to the dogs and do anything. Well, one night, Dugan was in writing a report in the MP station. Dugan would always leave his keys in the ignition, radio on the dash, didn't care. Hey, there's a pickup truck with a cage in the back. I'm not touching that truck at all. I didn't even like parking next to it. So Sergeant Major sees that radio on the dash, goes up there, and he goes, son of a bitch. He grabs the door, opens it up. Dog sleeping on the floorboard. Boom, hits him. He's out in the parking lot, mauling him all over the parking lot. People go run in to get Dugan inside writing a report, and because he's the only one who can get the dog off. And that dog is just mauling all over the Sergeant Major. Yeah, it was like almost every month our Sergeant Major would get bit. It was hilarious. The one night I was on the gate, I'm going to leave out with this story. Well, I probably, but we did once a month. They did show of force. They'd have the dogs out there, and a friend of mine would stand inside the gate shack, and he was a gate guard, and he'd pet Dugan's dog and rub him and rub his face, stick his face down there, and go, "Oh, good boy," and the dog just wag his tail and everything. I look inside the window, and the dog would growl. Because I didn't know the dog. I mean, I knew him a little bit, but not enough to where he trusted me. So we're all standing in a row outside the gate shack, and it was myself, the gate guard, and then Dugan and his dog. And this brand new second lieutenant, we call him Butter Bars, with the pulls up a little MG midget convertible. I salute, the gate guard salutes, Dugan doesn't salute. He started to pull off, stops, backs up, gets out of his car and says, "Why didn't you salute?" Dugan says, "Sir, under AR," and he said some AR 190 dash, blah, 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 whatever. He goes, "I do not have to salute. It shows an aggressive action towards my dog. It could cause him to attack." And Lieutenant says, "That's a bunch of crap." And he started to yell at Dugan. Dugan snapped his finger. That's all it takes. And that dog was at the end of his leash, right in that lieutenant's face, still like about an inch from his face, just going, about ready to bite him. And I had, first time I'd ever seen somebody almost physically crap themselves. The guy, lieutenant, jumped back into his car and said, "Carry on," and took off. And I laughed so hard, I could not stop laughing. Because just to see that dog whoop, right to the end of the leash, and he was like right up almost to this guy's face. That was classic. So, yeah, I always respect the dogs, because I never wanted to be bit by one of them. That's the thing. We had, when I was at the sheriff's office, they trained drug dogs. They were not patrol dogs. In the military, the Army, they train them shepherds pretty much as patrol dogs, and then they cross-train them to either bomb or drug dogs. Well, this is kind of a bad story, but one of the guys, he was, we called him a kiss ass because he kissed his way into a position where he became a canine handler. Well, he had this dog, and this dog was probably one of the, you just saw him, and the dog looked like he was not all there. Like it was just one of those dogs that just was really doofy looking. Well, he's driving this truck. Dog's in the back. And he didn't realize the dog jumped out of the back of the truck, and he's driving down the road with the dog hanging off the side of the truck. We used to give him crap. I told him, I said, even your dog didn't want to work with you. He killed himself, And he got so mad. But, yeah, it's, I always wanted to be a dog handler. Just, it's a very tough thing to do is get into in the military. Everybody wants, it's a very, very elite. To get the orders to go, you got to know who, the right people to get in there. I'm sure if I would have wanted to stay in, they probably would have allowed me to. But yeah, that's a really cool thing to be trained in. Well, we're a fast hour. We're already over. Hard to believe. Time flies when you're having fun. We're going to talk about strangest laws. I got a couple of minutes, but I did want to talk about a couple of them. Alabama. It's illegal to wrestle bears in Alabama. Well, would never have thought about doing that. Alaska. Avoiding cracks while walking on sidewalks is apparently against the law. Really. And this makes sense. Makes sense. Arizona, it's illegal to cut down a certain type of cactus. You can get a 25-year prison sentence. You know, the big tall ones they show? Well, they've had people go down and try to cut the arms off them, and they don't realize that those things weigh several thousand pounds. Flirting in Little Rock, Arkansas could get you 30 days in jail. Really? Colorado, catapults cannot be used to fire at buildings. Connecticut, a pickle must bounce if it's considered to be a pickle. Well, finally someone said what we were all thinking. Yeah, right. Delaware, no changing clothes in your cars, but you can still eat burritos there. Really. Florida, it's illegal to sell your children. Oh, Florida. Speaking of that, we'll end on that one there. Craigslist. Family tries to sell their baby, on Craigslist for $3,000. Tried to sell their 5-month-old on Craigslist for $3,000. So the couple was arrested and their child was placed in state custody where they should be with aggravated child abuse and aggravated child neglect. $3,000. They were going to sell their kid. Man, that just... So, all right, well, it's that time of the night. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow night on Night Talk with Joe Rocks at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central, and I'll be back on Friday. We'll finish off those crazy laws and stuff like that, get some more information for you. Hopefully we'll get some more information on that texting while driving. And if not, be safe. If you see something, say something.